Hello to all traders and welcome back to another market review brought to you by Orbex. The big news coming out of America last night from Fed Chair Jerome Powell's testimony is that they will still need to be remaining hawkish for the next few months, adding that they will still raise interest rates, and this sent the dollar into a little bit more of a stronger position, especially against the euro, against the yen, pound, all the main competitors on the list. Stocks did recover slightly, but if we look at the euro dollar since last Thursday, we're seeing quite a big turnaround in a lot of these FX positions. So if we look on the euro dollar, for example, yesterday, we had a 4-day losing streak capped off by the fact that there is also bad news coming out of Europe. Yesterday, they had their retail sales data, which also saw the data fall into negative territory. So it is looking likely that we could see not a full-blown retracement back to the parity level, but a little bit more of a downturn in the euro dollar particular. And we're just seeing now why the next piece of fundamental news is coming out of America, because obviously big NFP numbers from Friday, big PMI data as well, and we're not seeing any slowdown at the moment for the euro dollar, especially on the downturn. Anyway, so let's just take a look on the charts for the first of the as we get into the middle of the trading week. Sorry. So as you can see here, I just want to bring it back on the weekly chart, because what we've seen for most of 2022 was the fact that because of these big aggressive rate hikes that we saw, 75 basis points per time, we saw the euro dollar collapse quite significantly. Then, obviously, after parity, which was roughly about here, we saw momentum start building, and now we're seeing another push to the upside. But if we just bring it down on the daily chart, just to see a little bit more clarity on this, we are now obviously seeing this particular sell-off. And as I said, we capped off yesterday a 4-day losing streak. Okay, yesterday's candlestick did finish on a doji, but it was in negative for most of the day. Now we're seeing a little bit of a pickup. I just zoom in a little bit more for you, and we're just basically waiting for the next signal. Obviously, when Fed Chair Jerome Powell does make a testimony, it is usually directed at inflation, interest rate hikes, because these are the big topics going into the first quarter of this year. So where are we looking now for the euro dollar? Well, as you can see from the 4-hour chart, if we bring it down to intraday, we're just seeing now that with the assistance of the Ichimoku cloud, we have broken through this very thin cloud, which means that it's basically easily penetrable, and it was most probably not going to give us much support. So this was a very predictable move to the downside. We're just going to see now a slight consolidation before we get to the next level and the next signal. So we've had a sell-off of roughly about 300 pips from Thursday, which is quite astonishing, really. So is this just a correction on the euro dollar, or are we looking at a fully fledged reversal? We're going to find out probably later in the week. Obviously, we had balance of trade data yesterday in Canada and America, so this didn't really add to anything to um, to move the market too much. So we're just going to wait and see what the next move and course of action will be in that respect. Let's just take a look on the dollar yen. Had a lot of traders asking me about the dollar yen, especially on the live NFP that we did on Friday. And we saw that we had a big turnaround on the dollar yen due to the NFP numbers. As you can see here, this big bullish green candle. But we didn't really penetrate the bottom border of this Ichimoku cloud. It is still trading quite far away. So it is giving us the impetus that we will possibly see another turn to the downside if we get heavy resistance here, roughly about the 132, 133 handle. So it's looking likely that we will see a slight reversal. But like we said before, any news on the dollar at the moment is really starting to move markets. And obviously, with the dollar yen cable, the loonie, the dollar Canadian, euro dollar, all these big currency pairs that we're seeing, it's not exactly giving us that much of an impetus to the upside or downside. So we're just waiting for the next piece of fundamental news at the moment. But for the dollar yen, we're just seeing on intraday that we are looking, when there is a gap in the market and it does close the gap pretty quickly, we do look at a fully fledged reversal. So now prices and the bias is looking to the downside. We're going to see in the next few hours if this particular consolidation area is going to start moving to the upside or downside. But chances are that it will probably start reversing, and then we'll just see if we'll get any support roughly about the mid 129 area for that particular support and we'll see if prices can start collapsing a little bit more. So this is what we're looking at the moment. So all gaps in the market, if they do reverse, most of the time we do get a full retracement. So we'll see if that happens later in this trading session. So thank you very much for joining me. Any questions or comments, this video will be posted on our YouTube channel as usual. Feel free to like, subscribe, and obviously comment, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So have a great trend day ahead, and we'll speak again soon. Bye for now.